know 2026 and the link is feeling cold. Stories of a super runner getting kinda old. Jalen under fire, say his vision's getting tight. Calling them uncoachable every single night. AJ in the tray, got me in my field. Mr. Hollywood is the brownest on the field. Man, he ain't calling plays, I be searching for the spark. Eagles flying solo, hunting shadows in the dark. Rabel and Rossini trying to launch a master plan. Ever since the photos got you sitting with the fans. Draft day approaching, how we sitting on this perch. Gotta fill some holes, so you know he's on the search. 10 toes down with the Eagles on the scene. Watching out for Cap, cause your boy is bleeding green. Searching through the trending topics, info moving slow. Pro fan talk, always keep you in the know. Pro fan talk. Hit the bell, that's law. Break it down from the film to the box score raw. Pro fan talk. With the real ones bar. From the birds to the league, we gon' cover it all. Pro fan talk. Hit the bell, that's law. Break it down from the film to the box score raw. Pro fan talk. With the real ones bar. From the birds to the league, we gon' cover it all. Pro fan talk.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen?
What's up?
Going on? We are here. We got a special guest. Barrett Brooks is in the building. We gonna get right to it. Big B, what's going on? Did you like the music? Got the intro going? We got some new things going, man. What's going on with you?
That's talent, man. I see. I mean, that was the show right there. You just gave it the show. I wish I was that talented, man. But hey, man, you know, I like to choke people for a living. You know what I mean? So
there you go.
You know,
whatever pays the bills.
Doing that.
So yeah, man, we just a lot of stuff going on, man. This news cycle this past month has been off the chain, all over the place with my WNBA stuff, with the NFL stuff, AJ Brown stuff, Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel stuff, NFL draft. Dude, it's been nonstop, man. This has been incredible for like the last month and a half, 2 months. It's been ridiculous, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, giving us something to talk about, it makes our job easy.
Absolutely.
You know, everything from the rooter to the tutor.
For sure, man. Let's kick it off with AJ, man. What are your thoughts? Well, first of all, plain and simple, you think he's staying or think he's going?
Honestly, I just think that you can't give away that talent. You're not going to be able to fill that void if you do let him go. Number one, it just costs too much right now to let him go, even around draft time. You know, the $40 million, $43 million of a dead cap hit to a guy that's not in your locker room. I just can't see him doing it. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me. You know, but I said the same thing when we talked about Wentz. But they were, you know, that was the highest cap hit, you know, dead cap hit with a player not being there in the NFL history. Now, you know, we're talking about a receiver, $43 million if they trade him before, you know, June 1st. To me, that just doesn't make sense, especially with the talent that he has. Yes, I understand, you know, he's a disgruntled employee. Yes, I understand he wants to get out of here. The passing game isn't up to his liking. But I just think that Mannion, new offensive coordinator, can help things out a little bit. And, you know, as for, you know, the relationship between him and Jalen, I don't know what's going on with that. But I just know from me being a pro, I didn't really much care if somebody liked me or not, or you know what was going on. I'm going to go out there and do my job. I understand he wants to make it to the Hall. He wants that gold jacket. And his numbers are going to dictate whether he gets there or not.
Facts.
But at this point, you know, you can't really say, all right, what he's saying is not warranted. We see it. We saw the production. We saw what happened.
He didn't tell no lies, bro.
Yards. But
he did not tell any lies.
Right. I mean, it's there, you know. I mean, but the whole offense, you know, and I think it was more so the offensive line more than anything. You know, I think the offensive line has got got the offensive coordinator cut, got a job out, you know, got him fired.
Thank you.
It wasn't necessarily what he was calling, because it didn't matter what you called. They just couldn't execute it because the offensive line was too banged and bruised up. Now, you know, one thing I do know, AJ is a very vain person.
Yeah.
So if he's still on this squad, he's not going to go out there and give a bad performance. He saw what happened in the last game he played against the 49ers. Yep. That will never happen again, guaranteed. No. He's not going to let that happen again, because it really messed up, you know, how people think of him and how they look at him. And he wants people to look at him as an all-pro type of player, and he knows he can't do that. So I just think, you know, if he is here, he's going to do what it takes to be the best version of himself he can be. He's too vain not to. He understands when it comes he wants a gold jacket. He's got to do above and beyond and do whatever he takes to make sure life is easier on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. And we thinking the same, man. Finally, because I've been saying it for a long time, bro.
Right.
And I never thought it was going to happen. Because when the word came down about Jeff Stoutland, I was in my feelings. Because I was
Right.
like, if there was anybody in this organization that was untouchable, it was him. However, that offensive line run blocking last season was trash. Straight trash. And I was like, if you can't run block, you can't tie up the linebackers, and you damn sure not going to tie up the safety. If you can't do that, your play action is useless.
Right.
And if you can't do play action, that means the defense is going to pin their ears back because they got you pigeonholed. And I even went so far as to say this. If the offensive line would at least have been adequate at run blocking, not necessarily good, just adequate, Kevin Patullo would probably still have a job.
Yeah, I believe so also.
And
I believe so also.
Never in a million years would I have thought that this may have been a Jeff Stoutland issue. Because if we go look at if the offense is bad and you want to throw Kevin Patullo under the bus, that's fair.
Right.
And if you're gonna do that, then you got to transition to the way the offensive line played, and they ran block. They pass block adequately enough, but the run blocking was trash. So you got to look at the offensive line coach. You have to do that. So that's something I never in a million years thought that would happen. But Cam Jurgens looked horrible.
Yep.
Landon Dickerson wasn't healthy, and then we found out Cam Jurgens wasn't healthy either. He had a slip.
Well, I knew he wasn't healthy. I mean,
and sciatica.
Yep.
So I guess when I'm looking at the coaches, I'm like Jeff Stoutland. Why didn't you move Brett Toth back to center like you did against the New York game, where we had our best offensive production of the year?
That's it, man. Because you could tell Cam couldn't play. We couldn't even run the tush push because his back was hurting him so bad. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I know once we couldn't run that play, I knew it was over, man. I knew that, at that point, Cam was just not healthy enough to play the game. And he comes out and says it now that, he was going day to day on whether he could walk or not. And I knew there was a problem. I went over, they were doing a show. And I could remember those guys sitting down at the table. And when each one of them got up, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, and Jordan Mailata, bro, it looked like they needed canes. You know what I'm saying? Like they needed, something to help them up, man. That's how bad they looked. And, when I say bad, not necessarily bad as I'm trying, talk about them as being after. I was talking about as bad as far as their body being beat up. You just tell it was destroyed, man.
Yeah, we know.
I mean, it didn't make sense really to have Cam Jurgens play out there because, I mean, defensive coordinators were game planning him, and they knew if they lined up on one side of him and pinched real fast the other side, it was going to be a free route to the quarterback because he couldn't move his feet.
Yeah,
he couldn't do it,
bro. So, I had I did two videos on that last season, back to back.
Right,
where basically he didn't touch the defensive tackle.
Right,
he just gave one move, went right around him, and Cam Jurgens did not touch him. And I was like, "What is going on?" But I guess my bigger question is, how come they never put Toth there? Was Toth injured too?
No, Toth was not injured. They just didn't want to take Cam out the game. I mean, coach just wanted him to play. And
see,
it did make sense, and that's another thing, I mean, Stoutland University was the best thing going, but I just knew that some of the concepts that were going on just weren't conducive to what they wanted to do with the opposite side of the ball. Like, they wanted to go on the center, and Jalen didn't want to go on the center. And of course, Coach Stout, who's been there with the entirety of his career, was like, well, we're not going to go on the center. But the biggest thing I knew that things had to change was motion.
Yeah.
Stoutland didn't like motion. And I understand that. Stoutland, when you motion, you got to have guys that can adjust to the motion. So when you motion, and once a guy motions across the center, it changes up the number count. The number count changes. Like when you think of the offensive line, the center is the center point.
Yep.
And each side of the ball has a number count. How many guys on this side, how many guys on that side. One side goes over, then the number count changes, but it just
Right.
doesn't change from a linebacker where the Mike linebacker is. And that's who they're counting, the Mike linebacker. It's not just him. But if they have a safety come down, what does he become? Does he become the will linebacker? Do they ever have him in a number count? And that messed up where the center he would call and then turn around and would mess up the receivers on what their hot routes were,
Yeah.
and then all those type of things. So it's a lot involved. If you're not used to motioning like that, it's really, really hard to get guys to get used to it and adapt to it and be able to do it consistently enough that you know how to call the plays. I was always in the system that we always motion, so I could, if
Right.
this guy was the Mike, they motion across, they slide over. All right, we got a new Mike. We're gonna call this Mike over here. But you also got to think, what if that safety comes down? Oh, they're not. When a safety comes down, he's now in a number count. Now you got to kick that Mike. You got to kick it back to the guy that was there before, because now it's the number count is going back over there because this guy's a Mike because they brought somebody down in the box.
Right.
So I mean, so many things that you're going through your mind as an offensive lineman, especially a center, on how to call it, and then you got to make sure Jalen knows what the hell is going on also.
Right.
Receivers have their hot routes. Tight ends need to stop. I mean, all this stuff that goes on with motions, and they just couldn't run it well and effective enough to have it in the everyday play selection that they had.
Do you think that's you could probably say that would have something to do, at least it would in my mind, of the result of Cam Jurgens not being able to move.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
It's not everybody want to says, to your point, like we just don't do it. How come Jalen just doesn't want to do it? It's a more nuanced conversation. There's a hell of a lot more to it, and it's not just black and white. There are a lot of things.
A whole lot.
Once that domino falls, it's a whole bunch of other things that have to happen, and they weren't happening because we couldn't block.
Well, and plus, when you got a guy getting beat like that, everybody's thinking, oh, Saquon lost his step. Saquon didn't lose his step. Saquon was died. As soon as he got the ball in the backfield, somebody was in his face.
He was shaking him.
You know what I'm saying? In his face. It should have been a tackle for loss half the season.
Bro.
But, he's a gifted enough athlete that he would get past that first initial guy that beat the center going up the field. And then now, after that, it gives the defense enough time, to make their corrections and get up the field and, and stop the play.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just, Saquon not running
Saquon
hard.
lost his stuff.
Exactly. It had everything to do with knowing how to run the offense effectively. And they just didn't know how to run the offense effectively. When your center was hurt, number one, Landon Dickerson was, the walking wounded. These guys, and Jordan Mailata, even though he wasn't coming up
he wasn't at his best either.
He was also hurt. He's playing through stuff. And we didn't have our all-world right tackle out there for he missed 9 games.
9 games.
So you can't be an effective offensive unit with those type of things and those type of issues.
And here's one thing that pissed me off last year. When I but when you realize how many people got something to say about what the Eagles were doing and they wasn't even watching us. And I caught a segment with Kay Adams. What's old boy from on Amazon? Andrew Whitworth. Ain't he a Hall of Famer?
Yes. He's got a gold jacket. He deserves the gold jacket. He's a baller.
Right. So that's somebody that knows what he's talking about when it comes to offensive linemen. You would think. I'm seeing him on the show, and he's talking about maybe Saquon just needs to run a little bit harder and just hit the hole a little bit harder. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And I was like, clearly you have not watched any of our games. If you say you watched the game and that's the conclusion you come up with, I don't want to hear nothing else from you, dog. Right. Because clearly you didn't watch the game. Saquon is making people miss 2 or 3 yards in the backfield.
Right.
Most of his splash runs, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2. Most of his runs longer than 10 yards were bounces to the outside. Same way with Tank Bigsby.
Yep.
We could not run tackle to tackle to save our lives, and it killed us.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, birds 24. 24 birds. Yes, I am confirming it. You couldn't run the offense they wanted to run with the personnel that they had in front of Jalen Hurts and
No.
Saquon Barkley. You just couldn't. You couldn't be
No.
effective. I mean, it's so many times, you're trying to run a play and, a guy's getting beat, not because he doesn't have the heart, not because he's not working hard, but it's more so because guys are just playing injured.
Right.
They're held together by duct tape and bubble gum, bro.
Facts.
And that's why you hear so much about those guys going down South America and getting these,
Stem
whatever
cell
treatments they're
treatments.
getting. They're trying to get right. And
Yeah.
my frame of thought is going into this season, I have the same type of excitement for after they won the Super Bowl going into the next year with the personnel that we have. I have that same excitement because I know
Agreed.
it was because they just weren't healthy up front. If they come back healthy, this will probably be a top 5 offensive line. And that's all you
Absolutely.
need to be a successful offense. I mean, because it's not just the offense. Them not playing well up front led to the defense having more reps. Too many 3-and-outs. It led to guys being gun shy, from a quarterback position.
Yeah.
Guys in his face all the time.
It's all
It's
related.
tough. Yeah, it's tough, man. So I'm gonna chalk up last year is the offensive line led to a lot of the woes that team had, and they played injured, and a lot of them shouldn't have been on the field. Cam Jurgens should not have been on the field half the time he was on the field.
Man, I'm still trying to figure out how he made the Pro Bowl.
I'm not worried about that. That's the Pro Bowl. That's a
Popularity contest, but still.
Yeah. But I will say this: I will give Cam Jurgens a yeoman's type of salute for going through what he went through and playing last year when his back wasn't connected to his legs. Man, he tried. Man, he did it. He did the utmost of trying to be the best player he could be, but he was out there playing without a back, man. So
bro, once I heard him
bad about him or anything, I didn't say
what?
anything negative about him as a player, but I am saying he probably, they probably should have said, look, we're gonna give somebody else out. We should have put Brett Toth in there to play, and I think the offense would have played a lot better when Brett Toth is in there. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he in the Minnesota game? And that where things changed a little bit on how the offense worked. So I mean, he was in there. He was in there for the Giants game, I know for sure. And things worked out pretty well.
Yeah, and I guess that's my biggest question: why didn't we leave him in? And I'm with you on that one. I will give him the salute because he gutted it out.
Yes, he did.
The problem is because there are players that even when they're hurt, even when they're nicked up, if I can get 70% of Lane Johnson, that's better than 100% of a whole bunch of other people. Unfortunately, Cam Jurgens wasn't that.
Right.
Not even close. It's great when you can grit it out, but if your performance is not better than your backup, put the backup in.
Right.
And I think that maybe that's where the fallout was with Jeff Stoutland, because it was definitely on Jeff Stoutland.
Well,
we can see it.
and
We can see it. They watch film more than we do. You know how it is. So,
and I just, I like I said, I love. I got a man crush on Coach Stoutland. You know what I mean? But I think
I was in my feelings, man, for at least 2 weeks when I found out he was leaving. I was not happy.
He had to go. He had to go simply because it's a whole new system coming in, and I played that system before. That system is amazing. They're about to play this new system. They bring it up with Sean Mannion. Is and it's made for an offensive line that not necessarily the most talented offensive line that you can have out there. The zone blocking scheme is they're not blocking people, they're blocking areas. Somebody gets in your area, you block them. And they, drop, step, go. So when you have the talent you have this offensive line and running this type of system, this is going to be big gaping holes that you're going to
I am so excited to see what Saquon going to do.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm like, if you want to, anybody in the chat, if you want to see the possibilities and the potential of zone blocking for a good running back, go on YouTube and go back and look at Terrell Davis with the Denver Broncos. He didn't run to a hole. Elway handed him the ball as deep as humanly possible, and you let a running back be a running back.
Yep.
That's all you got to do. And let Saquon do what Saquon does best, and it is going to pay dividends. It's going to spread out the defense, and he can just pick and choose if he want to cut it back, if he want to bounce it out, or if he want to hit it straight up the gut. It'll all be there once the offensive line gets used to blocking like this. It's beautiful.
I'll give you one better
thing, bro.
Yeah. People in the chat, if you really want to know the godfather of zone blocking, the way you had Terrell Davis, you had Mike Anderson, you had Porter, you had
Joey Porter, yeah.
Gary, all 1,000, 1,500 yard, 1,200, 1,400 yard backs. Look up Alex Gibbs. Alex Gibbs is one of the best offensive line coaches teaching that scheme.
Yeah.
And that offense. And I had Alex Gibbs as my coach when I was there. I was in Denver for like a hot cup of coffee. I was there in off season. And he made me understand why they do the things that they do, why the offensive line is so good. If you look at their offensive line were small.
Yeah.
They weren't very physical, but they just went and blocked an area. And once you block that area, you latch on to somebody that comes in your area. If you don't have anybody in your area, you keep going and stay on that track. It's called track blocking. And Alex Gibbs you just look up Alex Gibbs. I mean, I asked everybody just look up Alex Gibbs.
Whole offensive line full of Jason Kelsey types.
Yep, all of them.
Small with quick feet.
Yep.
Small with quick feet. I say that all the time, man. I don't care how big you are. If you play it on the offensive line, you must have good feet. That's why they picked up that kid from LA. I'm still waiting to see him play.
Right.
That kid was
he's little too.
NCAA wrestling champ, so I know he got good feet.
Right.
I know he got good feet.
Yeah.
And the last thing before we move on was damn it, what would we do? Oh, the motion.
Yep.
One of the big problems with the motion was it seemed like with us, we always get in the damn play in with like 6-7 seconds left on the play clock.
Yeah.
So even if you do get something with motion, you ain't even got time to do it. Then you trying to rush, and if the defense don't move the way you want it to move, if you hoping this man and they stay in zone or vice versa, you don't want to get yourself in trouble. And I don't know. The play clock killed us last year. I never understood that. Like, how come we can't get the play in quicker? It just, I don't know what that was, man. But
it just didn't look right, man. It just didn't look right. The guy you're talking about is Willie Lampkin.
Thank you. Yep,
Willie
absolutely
Lampkin,
right.
Yeah,
Absolutely
he plays
right.
center. He's a good center too. He may be little, but you could tell he's one of those stocky kids that a wrestler growing up. Great center of gravity.
Probably super strong.
Points, Yeah, so he's gonna be pretty good, man.
Yeah. Real quick, we can get into this. We ain't got to stay here long, man. But what was your thoughts in regards to what's going on with AJ Brown, man? How do you think all of this stuff washed out with Rossini and Vrabel?
I'm gonna say this: they're consenting adults.
Absolutely, they grown folks doing grown folks business.
So whether they were in some type of entanglement, I'm not gonna call it anything but an entanglement. If it's an entanglement for both of them are grown, both of them have families. They're it's up to their family members to really dictate what they're gonna do going forward. But I mean, I could care less. It ain't got nothing to do with my Eagles. So be it. You know what I'm saying? I know she was reporting on everything, but at the end of the day, I mean, hey, he might have been bored. She might have been bored. You know what I mean? You want the information, you got to give some up for the information. I guess.
My thought was this. Now, because when she was coming out with all the reports, the at least my thoughts was, what the hell does she know?
Right.
So,
right.
But
who does she know?
But if she getting it, literally, if she getting it straight from the horse's mouth, now does that put a little bit more legitimacy to the stuff she's saying? Because now part of me is like, I really, really don't want AJ to go to the Patriots, because that would make her correct. That would prove her right.
I don't care if she's right or wrong, man. But I know if he goes to the Patriots, that's where he wants to go, and I think that's where the best deal they'll have it. And I'm if he is going to get traded, I'm telling you right now, they've already got a deal in place.
Yeah, they do. They're just waiting. They're just waiting for June 2nd.
Right. But if he's here and I want him to be here, I'm good with it, bro.
Yeah, I did a whole video last week. I was like, if AJ want to stay, he could have said something by now to put
AJ ain't
that.
gonna say nothing because
No,
he's
he's not.
he's that's just not where he
But I was
rolls,
like,
you
hey,
know.
bro, I'd love to. I want AJ Brown in Philadelphia. But if you don't want to be here, I appreciate your help in getting the chip. Good luck wherever you go, bro.
For sure, for sure. And you know, Tiffany, you're right. I'm concerned about the tampering also. You know, you
Yes.
talk to my guy and you don't, I mean, come on now. You can't be talking to my guys, you know what I mean? I don't care how good of a coach you is. I've been in that situation before, and it wasn't that deep. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't calling the coach, you know, and you know, saying, you know, anything other than, you know, my guy Danny. Danny, I forget Danny's last name. He's actually the special team coach for the Steelers.
Mhm.
And Danny started out with me here in Philadelphia. He was a special teams coordinator here in Philadelphia when I was playing here. And Danny, what was Danny's name? Oh, what was Danny's name? He's always got gum in his mouth. He's chewing gum, you know, and he ain't got no time for BSing now. I ain't got no time now, you know. So Danny would, I mean, he that's all he said, man, you know, and he was my guy. And he said, look, man, I'm gonna get you to Detroit. And after I left the Eagles, I went to Detroit. So, you know, I mean, it happens all the time. It happens all
Yeah,
the
it's
time.
all. Everybody knows somebody, and a lot of times it ain't what you know, it's who you know.
Right, right.
That's the nature of the business that we in. Period. It ain't all gonna be pretty. I think she kind of getting run over the coals.
Yep.
And Vrabel ain't taking no smoke. So because I'm with, and you know, Tiff is one of my regulars, and we've talked about this a lot. Like the only thing I want to know, if she's sleeping with Vrabel, that's her business. If he
Right.
letting her smash all of that type of stuff, they grown folks doing grown folks things.
Out of that.
Did her reporting hurt or help the situation with AJ Brown? That's the only thing I
Out of
want to know.
that. Yep.
That's the
Yep.
only thing I want to know. So they got to, by the letter of the law, this has got to be some sort of tampering or something like that.
Kind of
So
same thing that happened in the Super Bowl. You know, with
when,
the Cardinals and our defensive coordinator.
oh, I didn't even think about that, but you are absolutely right.
Yep. Kind of same scenario, same
Yep,
situation.
yep. Because he did
You
catch
know.
heat after that because he had already made the decision before we played the game.
Right. And
So
you know, he just
and we
lost
got no
interest in the
sacks
second
that
half.
game, nothing.
Yeah, he lost interest. He, you know, like, all right, well, I ain't gonna call
Yeah,
anything innovative, you know. So let me just, you know, do what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
yep.
And
And he ain't had no luck out there in Arizona.
nope, nope.
That
Well, hey, let
Cardinals
me
come
ask you
back.
this then. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Who you looking for as your, you know, pick number 20, 23 for the Eagles in the first round?
Uh, I hope some way, shape, or form we can move up and get Sadiq.
That's my guy. That's my
Some way,
guy.
somehow. I'm like, Howie, do what you this is what you do best. If there was ever a guy to do it to, it's this dude. Because he's a dual threat. You can
Yep.
play him. He's strong enough to play a tight end, fast enough to play wide receiver, and wherever else you want to move him on the line. Can he be an X? Can he be an H? Can he be a, you know, he can play anywhere on the line. And
And
you
I'm gonna
can
tell you, yeah. And you know,
he's a freak. He's a freak, man. At four
I call
three, at
college football
245.
games. Yep. I call college football games on Saturdays, you know, during the season. And I had to watch a lot of film on opponents that had to, you know, to really guard him and
Yeah.
try to play against him. So when when the season ended, when I start going into my college football mode, he was already the guy that I had on my radar for back in January. So I started talking about Sadiq. You know, hey, I like Sadiq from Oregon. I kept saying that, and everybody's like, Sadiq from Oregon. I said, yeah, the tight end. And as I started talking about him more and more, it started gaining traction. So I'm like, yo, I mean, this guy. So then he goes to the
And
combine,
the combine hit.
and then bam, now everybody's in love with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I've been on this, and you can go back to Birds Huddle, my show Birds Huddle, go back in January. Who did I talk about the most during that time period when we switched over in January? I talked about Kenyon Sadiq and what he brings to the table. I said when he goes to when he gets to the combine, it's gonna be over. I didn't know he's
Yeah.
gonna run a 4.3. I was thinking
4.37
like
at
4.4.
245, bro.
Bruh. 245, 6'3", 245, run a
Man,
4.3
I'm like
40.
shit. You might want to make him a backup for Saquon.
You know what I'm saying? Put him wherever you want to put him. He can play
Wherever
H.
you
He can
want to
play in the
put him.
slot. You can put him line up as an inline tight end right at that line of scrimmage. Before this year, he was a backup. And he played that blocking tight end position so he can do it. He was a
Yeah.
blocking tight end and a special teams guy. So he knows how to block. He's well versed, So him and Delp from Georgia are the two better tight ends in the league. And Delp helped
Oh,
himself a lot.
Delp. Yes, 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 yes.
He helped himself out a lot this year by running, just this last week, he ran in his pro day, ran a 4.440, 4.4440. So he helped himself. He made him some money, man. He made himself some
Yeah,
money.
it definitely did, man. And I look at guys like Sadiq, to your point, came on that last year. Was this his senior year, or is he
Yep.
is he a fourth year junior or a senior?
He was a senior.
Okay,
Just senior.
And I'm like, he didn't just all of a sudden become this fast and this big.
Right.
So what were they doing with him before then? Like, why? I have a big thing about if you are a good coach, you will curtail your scheme to fit your personnel, not the other way around. And it seems like you got a lot of the old heads, not even old heads, just a lot of these coaches now, they get so caught up on being gurus and geniuses, they don't use their personnel properly.
Right.
Like how do you, I don't understand how somebody that talented, I said the same thing about Zach Bond. Like, what was New Orleans doing that he was just sitting on the sideline all that time? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I'm hoping that Mannion comes in and can finally maximize what we can do with Jalen Hurts. We've gotten close to it. We got close to it in 22. Jalen played really well in 23. Just the bottom fell out, and the defense couldn't tackle in 23.
Right.
And then, of course, 24. And a lot of people forget, even though Kellen Moore came in and we ended up getting the chip, a lot of people forget the first 4 games of that year was very frustrating. And it wasn't until going into week 5, remember, the offensive lineman, Lane Johnson and the boys went in, and Sirianni was like, listen, we need to start running the ball more. So even then, they was trying to do their own thing, and it was right in front of them. Even having Saquon, they wasn't using them enough. And just to me, that type of stuff is very, very frustrating when we got so much talent on offense and we're not using it correctly. So,
well, that's why AJ's feeling the way he's feeling.
I agreed. AJ had never told a lie.
Yep.
Never told a lie. And then they want to spin it like he's a problem in the locker room. And you know what? I got a problem with Philadelphia fans now, man. Because I thought Philadelphia fans were a hell of a lot more thick-skinned than they are. And I'm like, and my thing with AJ is this. Everybody knows, and I'm saying this, and I'm not trying to say this in jest. I'm as serious as I could be. When you have somebody that has dealt with the mental issues and his bouts with suicide and things of that nature, guys like that have to deal with the stress the way they need to deal with it. Period.
I don't know. Yep.
I don't care if it's tweets. I don't care if it's reading a book on the sidelines. I don't care if it's doing yoga in the end zone. Whatever it is for him to be able to walk on that field and perform at a high level, that's what he got to do. It's not for you to like.
And you don't hear anybody in that locker room talking bad about him as a teammate or anything like that.
They don't. They don't just give you that C.
Right. You know, he deals with things differently. And I tell people all the time. That when you're most of the most gifted athletes in the world have a little bit, on them that there's not necessarily a screw loose, but the reason why they're so gifted is they can go past and beyond what the average person can't do. And that's why they're gifted in the way that they're gifted.
Yeah.
Some guys can run faster just because mentally they can go faster just in their head and they're thinking that.
Right.
When I might be running, I think, look, this is the fastest I can go. they can break beyond that point. They can lift more weights. They can do things that different people can't do. That's just like when you talk about gifted people that are that are entertainers,
Right.
singers. You know what I'm saying? Their their way of thinking, their process, the way they do things is different than the average
Right.
person. Well, he deals with things different. He deals with things where he can let his hair down in a social media arena. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He just lets it flow when he's in that type of environment. I don't care what he does on social media. All I care about is what he playing on Sunday. And I think
Facts.
he would respect my viewpoint on saying, all right, as long as you play on Sunday, I don't care what you do.
That's
I
the
don't
only
care
thing that
about you
matters.
saying whatever you're gonna say. It's not gonna bother me because as long as on Sunday you catching the passes, it don't make me no never mind. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
He would think the same.
exactly.
All right, cool, B Brooks. Hey, I'm gonna give it to you every day on Sunday, but this is how I let my hair down. So I mean, I'm past that point. I played with gifted athletes my entire life. It's like Ricky Waters. For who, for what? I done dealt with those guys all my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On all the teams I had, I was always a special guy on a team
There's
that's
always
special.
one.
And I mean, some of those guys, the gifted, they might be on the spectrum. You know what I mean? They might be on the spectrum, which makes
Absolutely.
them the type of players they are.
Absolutely. A lot of honestly, I played with Randall, and
Right. Me too. Me too.
a lot of people thought Randall was kind of odd but that kind of gets into like I've seen, at least it seems to me like I've seen this kind of bully culture come back, and I was like, where is this coming from?
Right.
Where people get mad people still get mad at the dudes like Randall or like Russell Wilson or Jalen, the guys that don't go to the clubs, the guys that don't smoke, drink, do all of that kind of stuff. There's always like a bit of a bully culture when it comes to stuff like that. And I was like,
Yeah, I
where
want you to be the athlete that I want you to be.
exactly? And you can't do that. They gotta do it the way they have to do it.
Right.
Period.
Jalen just doesn't do that. He's never been a guy that's going to be going out and kicking it. He's my frat brother. You know what I'm saying? He the brother.
Yeah.
He's just not the type that's going to go out and kick it. He'd rather go watch film than go out or he's just he's to himself type of dude. So I mean, I like I said, I could care less about that. I deal with things differently than he deals with things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
And
me,
that should
when
be
I get
okay.
frustrated, I want to go tear down an engine or put an engine back together
Right.
or go, weld some stuff. That's why I let my hair down. You know what I'm saying? That's how I relax. I go and I work in my garage. That's what I do to calm down. I ain't messing with nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to say anything bad about anybody, but I'll tell you what I say, when I'm saying it, I'm backing up what I'm saying. And when I said it was the truth, the way I saw it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It may
Exactly.
not be right, it may be wrong, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I don't just throw stuff against the wall and see if it'll stick.
See if
You know
it'll
what I'm saying?
stick, mate.
If I said it, that's what I saw, that's what I'm thinking, and that's just my way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I break stuff down. I internalize stuff differently from other people. I break
Right.
down stuff different from the way other people analyze stuff, but that's just me.
And when you get the results that you want, why do you care? Why do you
How did
care?
I?
It's like you getting mad that somebody gave you $1 million in $5 bills.
Right.
What you mad at? And another thing about the me feeling some kind of way about Philly. Like, I don't want to hear nothing about diva behavior.
Right.
Especially not when it pertains to AJ Brown. When we were ground central, we were ground zero for what diva behavior was when we went through the TO thing. So we know what that looks like. So why would you even try to compare that with what AJ Brown is doing? They just don't give you a C on your chest. Your teammates got to put you in that position. That means they respect you enough to do that. And all the way back in 2023, when we won that game against Carolina and we had like 106 yards passing. And that was the first time AJ Brown was like, we got to fix these passing games. And people lost their shit. They were crashing out and you trying to throw people under the bus. I'm like, no, he ain't. He just telling the truth. Jalen didn't have
at least his
game.
Truth. He's telling his truth.
Dude, and it was like, y'all cannot look at that film, and that's the other thing. When I realized how many people talk about the Eagles, talk about football, and don't none of them watch a lick of tape. Not a lick of tape. I bring Barrett, I bring you up more because I try to tell people like, here's some people that you want to watch because I know they watch tape. I
That's
know
all I
Barrett Brooks
do.
watch tape. I know
That's
Baldy
all I do,
watches
man.
tape. I know Greg Cosell watches tape.
Right, right. But
So, but so many people now, because everything is media driven, you got a production assistant that hands you a stack of stats in front of your face, and you go by off the stats. You don't have any context. You didn't watch the game. And then the other part of that is, realistically, all of them people on television that's doing all the talking, they don't even have time to watch the game.
nope, nope.
They don't have
I
time to
barely
do it.
have time. I just make time. I make time when I'm sitting at when I'm even when I'm sitting at work. I'm watching and breaking down film. People come on my desk all the time. Hey, what do you think about this guy? I gotta look it up. If it's not in my notes, I say I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't just make stuff up. I'm like I haven't seen him play. And a lot of these guys I saw, um, during my time I'm watching film or on a team in college football. Like I did like 4 Utah games last year,
yeah,
and everybody's talking about their tackles. To me, both of them are just soft, and I don't think they're going to be equate good to tackles in the NFL because they ran the ball so much. They ran like 13 personnel, but they'd have a running back, two not tight ends, but 2 tackles and a tight end.
got
You
you.
know what I'm saying? That's their 13 personnel. Supposed to be a running back and 3 tight ends. No, it's a running back, 2 offensive linemen, and a tight end, or it's a defensive lineman, offensive lineman, and a tight end. I mean, come on. So they really didn't pass block as much as people think. So they ran the rock so consistently they didn't have to. So that's what Utah was. So I just think they were unproven offensive tackles, and at this level, I don't think they'll be able to transition that well unless they get a lot of time to go in. When you get drafted in the first round, you don't have that time.
Yeah, your expectation is to play immediately.
Yep.
So, it's everybody wants their insert position there, whether it's tackle, usually it's quarterbacks, skill positions like that. They want these guys, they want these kids to be like pancakes, man. They just want to add water and shake. And it's like it's even harder now to do it. And now you got to do it in less time.
Right.
You get less camp, you don't hit. They want you to play more games and you have less time to develop. And that's just a recipe for disaster. But for some reason, everybody still got these crazy expectations, and it never pans out the way they want it to. So it is what it is. We're gonna find out soon enough.
Bro, when that fire come out there, that red light come on,
Yes,
either
sir.
you know what you're gonna talk about or you don't. Well, hey, the eye in the sky does not lie. You will get exposed. If you don't know, they gonna find out that you really don't know.
Absolutely. The
You know what I
worst thing you
mean?
can do on that field is think. You better know
Right.
what
It's,
that
it,
you
it's
better
got to
know where
be
you're supposed to
instinctual,
be.
man. You know, people think it's just, you know, you just going out there, you just running. There are so
Yeah.
many idiosyncrasies that you got to go through on each play as an offensive lineman. You got to sit there. All right, we got to find Mike linebacker. How you
Yeah.
find a Mike linebacker? With me, I did it like this. Even when I sit down and watch film right now to this day, when I'm watching a play, I never really know who has the football because in my head, this is the way I process. I'm like, all right, here we go. I sit down, look, all right, where's my shell at? This is the only way I can find a Mike linebacker. I find a shell. It's got to be a corner, safety, safety, corner. Once I have corner, safety, safety, corner, I look at the offense. All right, which one's the power side? Which one has the tight end side? Okay, if that's it, then this guy one in, he's a Sam Mike linebacker, then the Mike linebacker, then the Will linebacker. If they're in cover 3, I got to make one of these linebackers, extra linebackers. I got to make them a safety. So I'll go corner. Then this guy next in, he's going to be the safety, even though he's a linebacker. Then I have the safety over the top, and then I have the corner. Then if he goes in there and they see somebody move, then so I go through a process of all right, find the mic. As soon as I find the mic, then I see where the play is going because he's going to take me to the football. Look at the offensive line. Once they pass set, I know it's a pass set. Then I look to the secondary. If they've set and they come off the rock, then they're running the ball. I'll process it. Boom. I'm looking to see where that center's going. Then I see where the tight end's going. Then I see where the play's going. it happens a lot faster than what I'm saying it in my mind. But that's the way I watch film. I watch film way differently. So I really don't know where the ball is until like a second or two later because I had to process all that stuff before a play happens. So I mean, it's weird, but that's just how I did it because that's just how I watch football. You know what I mean?
Dude,
I can't just watch it to enjoy it. That's why I watch it.
I started. I would start the play, and if it was shotgun, I would stop it as soon as the ball hit Jalen's hands. And then by then, the offensive line would have at least taken one, maybe two steps.
Yep.
So you can see what they're trying to do. And then I would let it run. If it was a pass play, I would wait till Jalen gets, if it's a 7-step drop when he gets to number 7 and he's looking, now you can see where everybody's supposed to be. If it's a run play, if it's out of gun, soon as Saquon touches the ball, I'm stopping it. Where is he looking at? Was the guard covered or uncovered? Is the guard pulling? Is he not pulling? Where's the Mike linebacker? Because usually that's my key as a running back. Am I bouncing it outside? Am I hitting it up? Or is he going to over pursue? And do I have a cutback lane? So to your point, all of those things matter. And I'm just that second domino when I'm watching my offensive line and I got to run the ball because now I got to pick the hole where I'm supposed to be. So I'm looking at it from a different perspective of let me stop the ball when Jalen has it in his hands and he's okay. If it's a pass pattern, what are the receivers doing?
Right.
Is the progression 1-2-3? Is the progression 3-1-2? Where are we trying to go with the ball? So it's to your point, like you said earlier, it's not just black and white. It's not just if Jalen threw a bad pass, was he even supposed to go in that area? Did somebody screw up on the other side of the field? There's so many things that can happen, man. But the way, especially now with social media, everybody just heaps on and nobody does their homework.
Right. Well, this even when I'm watching games on Sunday, when I have to sit there, or Saturday when I'm calling the game, I'm still going through that process in my head. And when I'm calling games, when I'm sitting back and I'm watching that in the office, so I can go on my pre and post game show, I'm still processing it like that too. I'm like, oh, what just happened? Oh, that's what happened. Because I just watch things a lot differently than most people, man. But hey, it is what it is, man. Well, yo, bro, I appreciate you having me on, man. I really appreciate it. For
sure, man.
It's been too long.
Yeah, been too long, man. And I'm still we might have to try to do it one time before the season starts. We got to get the band back together. Me, you, Tone, Robbie, and Derek Gunn.
Let's make that happen, bro.
That would be an all-time show before the season starts, man.
Yeah, that'll be an all-time show. Let's make that happen, man. But hey, we got to go through this summer, man, because we're gonna have to. It's gonna still be a lot to talk about, man. How they gonna do things, So let's make it happen again real soon.
Facts.
Let's do
I'll be up at Alumni Day. I'm gonna get to a couple practices this year for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Come on out with your boy, man.
Absolutely,
I gotta be there, bro. So
but I appreciate you coming on, bro. We're gonna have to talk again after the draft.
Well, so let's get a post draft, all right?
Absolutely.
All right, big dog.
You got it, man. Appreciate you,
all
man.
All right, babe. Hey, everybody in the chat, appreciate you. Thanks a lot for listening to me. I hope I didn't confuse everybody, because I'm a little weird, you know what I mean? But I appreciate everybody. Appreciate you, B. Yes, sir. Talk to you later. Yeah, man, that's my guy, Barry Brooks. Barry Brooks. You guys have heard me say this before, man. Find somebody that watches tape. Find somebody that watches tape. I know Barrett watches tape. I know Greg Cosell watches tape. I know Baldy watches tape. I know, and I always forget his name, the dude Murph on that one YouTube channel, Top Billing. I know he watches tape. I don't know Murph. Shout out to him. I don't know him personally, but I know his content, and I know he watches tape. So somebody like that, even if I don't necessarily agree with him, I know that he's coming from a good spot because he watches the tape. And most of these media heads, like we were saying, number one, they don't have time. Stephen A. Smith, Colin Cowherd, all the people on Good Morning Football, they ain't got time to watch a lot of tape because they're doing all these shows 5 days a week. They don't have time to watch all of the games. They get highlights, they get clips, and that's what they go off of. Some intern shovels a stack full of stats in front of their face, and they go off the numbers. And what do I say all the time? Numbers don't lie.
but they do deceive. You got to have context of the game, and a lot of these people don't give you context. They just give you the stats, and there's more to it than that, man. More to it than that. Let me see. I didn't get a chance to get into the chat much because people was firing off questions like crazy. I meant to ask Barrett about that. I was watching tape on him, and he looks good. To me, he don't look great. That's why I just forgot. That's why I wanted to ask Barrett about him specifically, because he's somebody. His name was up there, and I was watching a couple of his highlight tapes on YouTube, and they were good, but it wasn't like blowing me out of the water. I didn't see him taking folks 10 to 15 yards down the field. But then again, what am I expecting to see as an offensive? At me as somebody that's watching tape, offensive lineman tape. What am I supposed to be looking for? You know what I mean? Can he get somebody, lock him out, and then move him downfield? Or is it all about just stopping the momentum that's trying to get to your quarterback? You know, what is it? I thought he looked good, but what am I looking for if he's going to be our first round pick? If we're going to take him at 23, what am I supposed to be looking for? So I know what I saw. I liked what I saw, but again, this guy in particular, and this is just my opinion, I don't think he blew me away. So the other guy we were talking about, Bisonitis from Texas A&M, he kept putting people out and doing that move. Barrett was telling me that's a move he wish he could have learned earlier. So just different things like that, man. You always looking for something. What are you looking for? What is he going to fit the scheme that we're trying to run? What is Mannion looking for? We don't even really know that yet. You know, so there's a lot of things that we gotta wait and see. We gotta wait and see. Stephen A. Smith was yelling at Saquon, telling him to show up. He don't watch film. I know he don't watch film. So, you know, you got to get to a point, and luckily for me, I've gotten to that point, especially since I've been doing this, because I take it upon myself. If I'm going to talk about this, I need to know what the hell I'm talking about. So what do? Y'all see my videos where I'm watching tape and I'm on the NFL Pro site and all of that type of stuff. I'm not doing nothing special. I am simply watching tape. And if there's some things that I'm not sure about, if I'm not sure about what the quarterback's supposed to be doing, if I got questions about Jalen, you know what I do? I go to what's the other guy that I watch? TJ O'Sullivan, the quarterback school. All he does is break down quarterbacks. That's it. He gives an honest assessment. He tells the good, the bad, and the ugly. It doesn't matter who you are. So I've got it figured out. I know where to go if I want to watch tape on somebody. Now, what's the guy's name? There's another podcast that I was watching. They are retired offensive linemen, and all they talk about is offensive linemen. There you go. If I want to get a better understanding of what I'm watching from the trenches, that's where you go. Howie Long's, Kyle Long's podcast. The dudes busting with the boys, they get into it a lot. So you got to pick and choose where you watch your tape from. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to learn stuff. Greg Cosell is my number one spot to go to. If Greg Cosell is talking about anything, I'm listening, because nobody, and I mean nobody, watches more film than Greg Cosell. Period. Nobody. Maybe if you are in the building, maybe if you on a team, maybe if you a quarterback's coach on a squad somewhere, but I'm talking about in the media, outside of being associated with an NFL team or something like that, nobody, analysts, nobody watch. And I'm friends with Baldy, and Baldy watches a hell of a lot of tape. But Greg Cosell, you know he's going to keep it to you straight, give it to you straight. And you know he's going just by what's on the tape. And I'm always trying to learn. So that's the best thing about being an Eagles fan. Everybody trying to review our plays. Yeah, ain't that the truth? They just don't come up with the right conclusions. They watch the tape trying to come up with a narrative. So thank you, Tiff. I appreciate that. If we can't get Sadiq, find a desperate team and trade back. And my hope, we don't have to do that because there's a couple of other good tight ends. We was talking about the dude, what's his name? Another tight end. I can tell you when I see his name up here. Is it Culp? I can't remember it. Penn State, Miami, Monroe Freeling, Blake Miller, Einacor, Proctor. I think this is offensive line. Yeah, these are offensive line prospects. You know what? Hold on. Best tight end prospect. But you talk about another big guy that runs like under a 4.5. Under a 4.5. Oscar Delp, the guy from Georgia. That's who Barrett was talking about earlier. Oscar Delp. Big guy, good speed at his size. He might be available in the second round. So this is a very good tight end draft. Very good tight end draft. So yes, I think Kenyon Sadiq is somebody that we should go up and get. That's just my opinion. But if you can't get him, you're looking at a kid like this, 6'5". He's 6'4", 7/8. I'm gonna go ahead and round up and call him 6'5". You know what I'm saying? So 245. What was his 40 time? Draft events, draft tracker, draft home. I know it used to be a score breakdown, weaknesses. Yeah, this ain't the one. I don't know why they don't ever put the 40 times in here. I believe he had a pretty damn good 40 time. So now I'm like in the ESPN. Let's see if yeah, this is not gonna be it. Oscar Delp. Sports reference. It may have been on a draft tracker. I don't know. But in any case, I'm saying all that to say we have good prospects for the offense. So I'm not necessarily worried about that too much. So if we don't get Kenyon Sadiq is the only person I would want to trade up for. Because I think Kenyon Sadiq is a X factor because you can put him in different places and stuff like that. NFL Draft Buzz, you know what? That might be the one I was looking for. NFL Draft Buzz. Yeah. Yeah, this was it. Let me see. Because you can pretty much look up anybody. Kelp, Georgia. Let me see. Can you go by? What is this? Player college position. Quarterback, tight end. There we go. Kenyon Sadiq, Eli Stowers, Claire. Yeah, see, they don't even have him on this list. And this just tells you how different everybody's opinions are. You know what I'm saying? So ranking. Oscar Delp. There we go. 85, 449. 245, 6'5", 245, ran a 449. That's running back speed. So if you 6'5" and 245, Kenyon Sadiq ran a 4.37, I believe. 4.39. At 240 pounds, at 6'3", that's a mismatch wherever you put him. Wherever you put him. If you put him as a slot, if you put him as a wing, that means he's going to be going up against an outside linebacker. That's a mismatch. If you put him on the outside, he's 6'3". That means you're going up against a 5'10" defensive back, and he's got 4.3 speed. That's a mismatch, depending on the pass pattern, because now it becomes an issue of technique. If you want to move him to the outside and just do some things differently to try to get the defense out of position, you can put a guy like that in motion, and the defense must respect him. They're either going to bring up another safety to roll with him, or it's going to put a lot of pressure on that outside linebacker. Most outside linebackers can run, but they can't cover. Covering is a whole different skill set. So we'll see. Even Eli Stower's a kid from Vanderbilt, 4.51. Max Clare from O State, 4.70. Sam Roush from Stanford, 4.70. Another kid from Baylor, Michael Trigg, 4.70. Justin Jolie, 4.75, 4.62, 4.65. And then you got somebody that's running a 4.4. What? You got to look at the talent for what it can do when it's on the field. When you got somebody like Kenyon Sadiq, everywhere you put him, he's a mismatch. He's a mismatch. So I would imagine that Sean Mannion can really figure out what to do with a type of player like that. I think Sean Mannion can figure that out. You know what I'm saying? So as far as our offensive linemen, Caden Proctor is the one everybody likes. Like I said, watching some of his stuff, I thought it was good, and that's just looking at a glance. I watched about 6 minutes of his highlights. Offensive line highlights are different than skill positions because everything is in the trenches. It's not like they're going to score a touchdown. Sometimes the running back might get 2 or 3 yards. Sometimes it might be an incomplete pass. It's all about what that particular lineman is doing against whoever his opponent is. So it's easy to look at highlight tapes of guys like this a little bit more than it is skill positions. So, but Caleb, the kid from Utah, the kid from Oregon. Like, we got a lot of Ianakor right here from Arizona State. This guy, anybody from 6 to 9. But it all depends on what everybody's doing in front of us. That's the other part of this. You don't know. Everything is subterfuge now, and it's going to get a lot worse this last week before the draft because things are about to go nuts. So everybody's trying to hide what they want to do. But, yeah, like I said, I'm a Sadiq guy. So Sadiq is somebody that I would trade up for. Carnell Tate, I don't see him falling to us at all. That, again, that would be somebody that we would have to move up to get. But I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think Concepcion was another one a lot of people are happy for. The kid from Tennessee, 4.37 speed at 6'4". I like it. But what are we going to do with Johnny Wilson? I don't know. But there's going to be a lot of competition. But you look at these 4'3" guys, I'm looking at 4.37, 6'4". That's a win. 4.42, 6 foot. Okay. 4.4 at 6'2". That's a win. 6 foot, 4.40. I'm looking for the guys at 6'2" and above that got them 40 times in the low 4.4s. Right? 6 foot, 4.40. Anytime you close to 4.3, that's great speed. Anything close to a 4.2 is elite speed. 5'10", he's got elite speed at 4.3 flat, but he's only 5'10", 180 pounds. He's my size, minus the weight. I'm about 60 pounds heavier than him, but 4.34. Bryce Lance, I believe this is Trey Lance's little brother. 204, 6'3", 4.34 speed. 4.34. If you're below 4.35, that's getting close to elite speed. That's great speed, very close to elite speed. But 6'3", that's like Randy Moss type stuff. 4.36 at 6'2". I like it. 4.26, but he's only 5'9". But that's blazing speed. That's elite level speed. He'll probably be a kick returner or something like that. Here we go. 6'4", 4.47. I like it. Jacoby Lane from SC. Who else? Another 4.37 at 6 foot. Now, when you get to this third tier, these are the guys that Howie would probably get late in the round, but you got to keep an eye on stuff like this. Again, Caleb Douglas, 6'4", 4.39. That is beautiful. Somebody that big that's running that fast. 5'10", 4.35. Not quite tall enough. Look at this. Guy from Cincinnati, Jeff Caldwell, 6'5", 4.31. He's got elite speed at 6'5". He need to be running track. At 6'5", his 400 meter is probably ridiculous. 6'5" and 4.31. That is incredible. Incredible. Let's see who picks him up. Jeff Caldwell from University of Cincinnati. My Bearcats representing from the hometown. That's what's up. So you got some freaks in here, man. Freaks. You below 4'4" and you 6'5", 216 pounds. That's a beautiful thing, man. So, but at the end of the day, it all depends on what Howie Roseman is trying to do. It all depends on what he's trying to do. 1 week away, Carlos. You already know, bro. Who's my comp for Kenyon Sadiq? Who would be a comp for Kenyon Sadiq? I'm trying to think. Vernon Davis, maybe? Vernon Davis used to play for the 49ers, right? He was somebody that was like super built, super fast. I think that's who I'm talking about, right? I think that's who I'm talking about. Yeah, Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis ran a 4.38. He was a freak. He was what was his size? What was his prime size? 6'3", 248, ran a 4.38. He was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Played most of his years with the Redskins. Redskins in San Francisco. I'm sorry, he played most of his years with San Francisco, ended up with the Redskins at the end. San Francisco, Vernon Davis, Denver Broncos, and then Washington Redskins. One Super Bowl 50, Super Bowl champion. Two-time Pro Bowl, second-team All-Pro. Yeah, he was ridiculous. So that will be my comp for Kenyon Sadiq, Vernon Davis. So we might get that kid from Penn State. I don't know. I'm trying to let me see. I can't get it. Dang it. Where hold on. Let me see if I can get let me see. Penn State. Let me see if I can look it up by school, because I don't want to type that name in. I don't think Shannon Sharp ran I think Shannon Sharp ran like maybe a low 4.5s or something like that. Let me see. I'm gonna try to check this through. Joane. Why are they not? Yeah, they tripping. How you spell his first name? Olaivavega. Oh, I see. I see you talking about. I see you talking about. 6'4", 320. Um, old guard for fourth best guard in the draft. So, um, it all depends on what Howie wants to do. Because if they're gonna draft anybody, I think they would draft a tackle. But they must get they got to draft a guard because are they gonna move Toth and make him just the backup center and also guard because he can play both? But you got to get somebody that's gonna um, you got to get the heir apparent for Lane Johnson. That's what you got to do. So unless, and this is just my opinion, this is my guess, unless if Howie Roseman has a legitimate shot to get move up and get Kenyon Sadiq, I think he will do it. I hope he'll do it. If not, we're gonna get one of these offensive tackles in the first round. That's what I think. If it's a realistic and a doable thing to move up for Sadiq, he will do that. If not, we'll be drafting one of those offensive tackles. That's what I think is going to happen. So there's always a possibility that somebody can make a move before we get a chance. If it gets to 9 and Kenyon Sadiq is still on the board, I say we move up. I say we move up. But I think what's the draft order? Oh, you know what? This is. Let me see. Let me see. Just hold on. This won't. Lord have mercy. Nah, that's not what I'm trying to do. Filter by team, show teams. Yeah. I mean, it could go a lot of different ways. It all depends on what happens. Probably, I want to say 6 through 12. What happens then? That will probably determine what we're going to do. All right, come on, dude. We damn. What is going on here? There we go. So, yeah, number 9 is Kansas City. Is this right? Is this the right year? Let me see, 23. Yeah. So number 9 is Kansas City, and I could see them trying to pick up Sadiq because this will probably be Kelsey's last year. Yeah, if we can get 7 through 10. If we can get past there, there's a good shot. There's a good shot that we could, if Sadiq is not taken, or somebody going to move up and shake up the apple cart. You never know. That's the thing. You never know what these teams are going to do. So it depends on a lot on what happens in front of us. So we're gonna see. That's when it all happens. Yeah, Panda, I agree with you, but you just never know what a team is gonna do. You never know. A lot of times, this last 3 weeks. This is when teams put out all the subterfuge. This is where they make it so obvious when they put out all of this stuff that who came for the top 30 visits and all of that type of stuff. This person came for 3 visits, and all they doing is throwing curveballs. If somebody came for 3 visits, that doesn't mean that they're gonna draft that kid. And they trying to just make everybody think everything. It's all over the place. It's all over the place. No, they don't have another first round. They have we are 23, and then we don't select again until I want to say 52. I thought we were in the 50s. Yes, 54. 54. So we're the 23rd pick in the first round, and the 22nd pick in the second round. So we got a lot of room to move up if we want to move up. So it all depends on, like I said, how he keeps this type of stuff close to the vest. So we'll see what happens with that. So, but it's gonna be all over the place, man. It's wide open when it comes to stuff like this, man. This is where people like Howie earn their money. This is where they earn their money, man. So, where's my money, man? Where's my money? Why you ducking me, man? I want my money. But all right, man. That was a good show tonight, man. That was love hooking up with Barrett, man. Good friend, and he's always got good stuff, man. Does his homework. Yeah, good guy to talk to, and knows the stuff. So, yeah, man, that's about all I got. This was a phenomenal show. Appreciate everybody in the chat. I didn't get 100 yards rushing today. I think I maxed out. I think I may have had like 54, 55 yards rushing. So a low day today, but that's okay. That's okay. We had a great show. You know what I'm saying? Had a great show. So I'm about to get out of here. And hopefully it won't be no crazy breaking news. It seems like everything's going on in the WNBA right now. NFL is kind of tame because we know what's coming. All of the stuff with Rossini and Vrabel has pretty much, it's funny. The Rossini, she got axed from the Athletic, and then some girl released a statement and she was clowning her, and USA Today fired her. She was just like a contractor, but they fired her. They was like, we don't, don't put our name on what you're doing. So it's crazy, man. So, but we'll see what's going to happen, man. But in any case, you guys enjoy your upcoming Friday, and look forward to the weekend, man. And we are a week away from the draft, man. It's getting real. It's getting real. We're gonna figure out what's what in a matter of time, man. So let's see if Howie Roseman can reload, and it's Howie season. This is what he does best. This is what he gets paid to do. So I'm all for it, man, and I'm excited. See where we can go. So, good show. Appreciate everybody. I'm about to get up out of here. Yeah, keep studying tape, and we're gonna see what Howie's gonna do, and we're gonna get ready to rock and roll, man. Ready for the NFL draft. I will be live streaming the draft. So make sure you tell everybody to come here to Pro Fan Talk, and we're gonna be talking about it live as it happens. All right, I'm out of here. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you tell your friends about me, and I will see you next time. And as usual, go Birds.
Yeah. Yo, 2026 and the link is feeling cold. Stories of a super runner getting kinda old. Jalen under fire, say his vision's getting tight. Calling him uncoachable every single night. AJ in the tray, got me in my feels. Mr. Hollywood is the brownest on the field. Man, he ain't calling calling plays, I be searching for the spark. Eagles flying solo, hunting shadows in the dark. Prabo and Rossini trying to launch a master plan. Ever since the photos got you sitting with the fans, draft day approaching. How we sitting on this perch? Gotta fill some holes, so you know he's on the search. 10 toes down with the Eagles on the scene. Watching out for Cap, cause your boy is bleeding green. Searching through the trending topics, info moving slow. Pro fan talk, always keep you in the know. Pro fan talk. Hit the bell, that's law. Break it down from the film to the box score raw. Pro fan talk. Where the real ones bar. From the birds to the league, we gon' cover it all. Pro fan talk. Hit the bell, that's law. Break it down from the film to the box